There are a few very sneaky things that you can do to get a woman to like you. Certain things based in psychology that actually trigger the way a person views you. For example, number one, it's called the Benjamin Franklin effect. When you ask someone to do a small favor for you, and sometimes in some cases big favors, but in this case, let's keep it small when we're talking about attracting women. If you ask them to do a favor for you, it actually gets them to like you more. That is because deep down, people want it to be needed. So what's a favor that you can ask a girl? Well, if you are approaching her, maybe you're at a bar and you're talking to her for a little bit, you could say, hold my drink for a second while you look at something on your phone, or maybe you go to the bathroom. That's a small favor. Ask a piece of advice or ask an opinion. And the way that you can phrase it is actually say to the person, hey, I have a small favor. I need a piece of advice. Or, hey, I have a small favor. I need your opinion on something. Just using that language, it's acting as if there's a favor and that person feels needed, and then they feel a little bit more attracted to you. Next is the idea of scarcity. Robert Cialdini talks about this in his book called Influence. So the idea of scarcity is people want things that are scarce, right? It's just the idea of supply and demand. Demand goes up when things are scarce. So you have to make yourself scarce. If you're too available all the time, you text back right away, you're easy to get a hold of, then it's not gonna be as scarce. So your time, your availability should be scarce to her, and therefore she's gonna feel better when she finally gets your attention. And this is one of the most powerful things when it comes to dating, because neediness and being too available is going to be super unattractive. Next is something called implicit egotism. What does this mean? Implicit egotism, as stated here, is the unconscious preference that people have for things that they associate with themselves. So you can actually use this to build a connection with someone. So this means that if there's something that's a similarity between you and the woman, even if it's really small, you can highlight that and then be able to build a connection around it. So here's a few examples. Maybe you guys share the same initials. I know that sounds stupid, but just mentioning that creates this little bit more of a connection. Another example is maybe you guys share the same birthday. Obviously that's gonna be very rare. Maybe it's birthday month, maybe it's the same horoscope sign, maybe it's something to do with preferences, something that you like or dislike, whether it becomes food or something in pop culture, anything at all. If you highlight that, then that is going to create that connection between you and the woman. So make sure to look out for that kind of stuff when you're talking to a woman on an approach or on a date. Anytime that happens, highlight it. I have a few more techniques, but before I get to those, I know that it can be hard to use some of this because you might have approach anxiety, or maybe you're not even getting a lot of dates. If you need help, do not hesitate to get a free call with me and my team. On this call, we can diagnose and figure out what's going on, why you're not attracting the women that you want to, and how we can help. Go to tripadvicecoaching.com. There's a link down in the description below. Book that free call and we can help you right away. Next is reciprocal disclosure. This means that you're gonna disclose something to her, something that is a little bit more private, in hopes that she's going to then reciprocate. And people do this. There's a lot of reciprocity when you're communicating with a person, especially someone that you might be on a date with, might be attracted to. You might feel like you have to disclose something private to you because the other person shared that. So this is powerful in many ways. One, if you do disclose something that's private or personal about yourself, which I'll give you some examples in a second, then she's gonna get to know you, and also she's going to then feel the need to then reciprocate, which is gonna make her feel closer to you because she's doing the act of actually communicating to you the thing that is personal or private to her. My advice is keep this positive. Don't go too dark, don't go too intense. This is something that you guys are just trying to get to know each other on. So maybe it's a childhood memory. Maybe it's something really difficult that you overcame. Again, not too intense, but some sort of challenge that you accomplished. It doesn't even have to be about the past. It can also be about the future. Maybe a future goal that you're working on, something that you have not achieved yet, but you are working on. That one is super powerful, by the way, because that is going to say that you are an ambitious person. And ambition, or someone who is ambitious, is very attractive to a woman because she's looking for that character trait. Next one is a little bit more simple. It's withholding compliments. So someone who is complimenting someone a lot comes off a little bit nice guy, comes off a little weak and needy. It doesn't ever seem very real. So if you're not giving someone praise a lot or maybe at all, that person is going to want to seek that from you. And I know that sounds very manipulative, kind of dark, like really, like we shouldn't say something nice about another person. Honestly, these days women are getting so much of that, especially on social media. They do not need this. They don't need it from you. It's not the most important thing, and it is not something that you need to do to get more attraction. Compliments are white noise and they just don't need to be used. So if you're withholding it, she's going to then want it and seek more validation from you and chase you a little bit to be able to get that validation. And don't worry, you're giving her enough validation because you're asking her on dates, you're escalating physically, that's enough. Next is mirroring. Okay, what is mirroring? What happens when you look in a mirror? When you look in a mirror and you put, for example, your right hand up, you're gonna see what's gonna look like the other person's right hand, but it's their left hand going up as well, right? So your body language that is mirroring hers, so if her left hand goes up, then your right hand goes up like you're looking into a mirror, or if she's going like this and you go like this is mirroring body language. It is so crazy how powerful this is. I will witness it happen all the time, subconsciously, with myself and with the people that I'm talking to. So what I mean is, it happens on a subconscious level anyways. When you feel a connection towards someone, you tend to mirror their body language. So if someone starts to go like this and you feel more of a connection to them, you don't even really notice it on a conscious level, but you might start going like this as you are talking to the person. I see it happen to myself where I notice myself, wow, I'm mirroring their body language and I didn't even mean to do that. And I also see other people do it in conversation. Anyway, it's very powerful and you can kind of hack this. You can start to mirror her body language a little bit when you're talking to her in person. So if she's leaning a little bit more to the left, then you're gonna go to the right. Again, not to confuse you, but it's gonna look like you're looking into a mirror, okay? If she is holding her drink in her left hand, you're gonna hold it in your right hand as to mirror her. This is going to subconsciously create a connection between you and her if it's not happening already. Next, do not be afraid to use her name. Dale Carnegie, who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People, says it's the sweetest sound that someone can hear. And a lot of guys don't use it, and it's so easy to use. You could use her name as much as you want when you're talking to her in conversation. Obviously, okay, not too much, it might sound a little strange, but at least a few times when you're talking to her. And you can even use it in a flirty way. So for example, let's say her name is Caitlin. You can say to her, Caitlin, you're the worst, and I don't think you and I would ever get along. So that's something flirty you say, but then before it, you say her name. You could even use it alongside of some of the other techniques we talked about. For example, if you're trying to ask for a favor, you can say, Caitlin, I have a big favor. I need your opinion on something. And then you ask her opinion on whatever it is that you're looking for. So you can really use that and tie some of these other ones together. Write down in the comments below what you've used before and what has seemingly worked for you. I want to hear from you. I want to hear all the guys talking about what has worked for them or something that you're going to try in the future.